Mhm.
What's up, everyone? Kyle Kirschbaum here. Super excited to be with you guys today as we continue our Discover doTERRA series, our interview series. If you're wondering, wait a minute, Kyle's on Kirsten's page. It's not often, but sometimes I get permission to jump on my wife's fan page and to kind of participate in this. And super excited and grateful for the opportunity today to be here with my mom, the amazing Chris Kirschbaum, who I'm going to introduce to you guys here in a minute. And we're going to hear from her and hear about her journey. But before we get started, I know that some reminders are going out and people are going to start jumping on. Please, as you come on, say what's up. Tell us where you guys are kind of coming in from. I always think it's so amazing to see the power of social media, the power of technology. We get to use this somewhat distracting thing sometimes in our lives for good, right? For reaching people and for empowering and serving people. So if you are joining us and just jumping on, this is the second Discover doTERRA interview series. I'm going to be interviewing my mother, Chris Kirschbaum. We have an amazing topic to jump over. But I always like to make sure that the purpose of these interviews is really, really crystal clear, right? So if you are watching this, and maybe you're going to end up watching the recording of this, I want you to know the purpose today. What I want you to be able to get out of this. The purpose today is, and I wrote this out because I really wanted you to feel this. I feel like some of the most important things that we can do in life don't come from the way that we necessarily logically think, but it's the way that we feel. So hopefully this is the feeling that we're wanting to create from this, right? Our purpose today with this Discover doTERRA interview is to allow you to see behind the scenes at how regular people, like, well, we're not necessarily regular, we're maybe slightly a little bit weird, but weird's a good thing. How regular people started their journey solving a health challenge that maybe they had in their lives. And how that led them on a journey of empowering others and also creating freedom in their lives. And sometimes when we talk about freedom, some people like to focus on the money side of freedom, but really, truly, the power of freedom is the power of choice. Being able to create something that allows you to choose between things, between really important things. So, again, if you're just jumping on, we want to know that you're there. Please, give us an emoji, give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, Mom, right? Like, we want some hearts. We want to know we're not speaking to no one out there. So we love to see your guys' comments as we get started here. So let me introduce my mom a little bit for you guys. And, you know, there's not a lot of pressure because my mom is really an amazing person. So real quickly, both of us, I was raised in Anchorage, Alaska. My mom and dad raised us in Anchorage, Alaska. It was a great place to grow up. But without kind of going through her whole history, I was thinking to myself, how could I best help you get to know who this amazing person is? And I'm going to show some of these. We got hello from Montana. What's up, Sherry? Laura Ann. I love your emojis, Laura. Thank you for including all of the stages of a chicken and a rainbow. That makes everything all better. Cassandra, what's up? Kirsten Gould, what's up? Anyway, lots of people jumping on here. So we're excited to show some of your guys' comments. So here is who this amazing woman is, right? First of all, in her bathroom when I was growing up, she had a quote that said, get in the habit of doing nice things for people who will never know, right? This is a great representation of who Chris is. The other thing is I remember growing up and she was always meeting people on airplanes when we would travel. Like, there was never a stranger. Sometimes I would overhear her speaking in, in, what was it? Arabic or, Hebrew, speaking in Hebrew.
Afrikaans, Portuguese, German, French.
Yeah, so always kind of connecting with people. The other thing that you should know about my mom is that she was always the person to say, well, if you don't ask, then the answer is always no. And that typically meant on vacation that we might sneak into a pool where they had a really cool water slide. So if you have a mom like that, then you guys know what I'm talking about. And then also, she's a great representation of service and instilling within me the idea of feeling the fear and doing it anyway. So she is the mother of 4 children. I'm the oldest, and she has 10 grandchildren. And you went to school a little while ago. It's just been a little while. Was it family therapy or early child development? What was it?
It was child development and family relations.
Yeah. And so anyway, just super excited to dive into your story, Mom, and how it served you both from a physical perspective, a healing physical perspective, but also I think a really important piece we're going to touch on is the financial perspective, getting to an age where you are a grandmother, which is this amazing, beautiful thing. And with that comes retirement and comes health concerns, and how doTERRA has kind of what that journey has looked like. So maybe start off by telling us a little bit about, maybe you can fill in some of the gaps, but also what some of your goals have been kind of throughout your life. Like what is it that's been important to Chris Kirschbaum?
Well, first of all, I wasn't sure if one of my goals was always to be Kyle Kirschbaum's mom. Oh, you're Kyle's mom. And I'm so glad that we color coordinated today.
Oh,
that was like, that
was close.
Lose the color. But I mean, I have been in airports and I have been other places, and somebody comes up to me and says, "Oh, you're Kyle's mom. Did you know that, he has helped me so much?" And I'm just like, wow, that is just like so amazing. So I really am grateful for this opportunity. And also want to thank you, Kyle, for, the business that you conduct, the person that you are, and all the support and help that you have given me. I mean, this is kind of interesting thing to be interviewed by your son. And, I could just push the button and I'll be gone. But I plan to stay on and just want to thank you for this opportunity, because that's kind of what life is all about, is relationships, serving people, and it's great to be able to work with family. So you better ask your question again. So
no, that's okay. So what have been, for you, throughout your life, like I know you've done a lot of different things. What have been some of your goals? And what have been some of the things that you've tried? Like what have been some of your goals for you guys? I know that you've always been drawn to doing service work, being a missionary, doing that type of thing. Talk to me kind of about what some of your guys' goals have been.
Okay, well, first of all, the first half of my life my goal was really in raising my family. That was, my major in school, and everything I learned really didn't work with the kids, so I kind of had to learn on my own. And anyway, that was great. We always enjoyed going on family vacations, meeting people, serving people. I think that's really a big part of what we like to do. We would always have, somebody over for dinner, or, go help somebody. So, those were the type of things that our family enjoyed doing, is reaching out and helping other people.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think that one of the things that I wanted to really communicate is your desire to serve people. We're talking about the whole purpose of this, right, is this kind of behind the scenes look at how this journey in doTERRA, what it looks like, and how it helps us accomplish some of these goals that we've had throughout our life. And so I think, one of the things that I want to, start off with is also what have been, I know, you have, like all of us have struggled with different health aspects of our health. And, I know we've talked about kind of your story, but how did your story begin with doTERRA? What was it, a health challenge, or what were you searching for? Kind of talk a little bit about how that journey began, just from a health perspective.
Well, it kind of began with, I don't know, after the kids were raised, I kind of asked myself, okay, now what do I do? You know, I've been so used to, you know, taking them here and there and, you know, being involved in their life. So first of all, I asked myself, you know, now what am I supposed to do? And I actually had time to look more at my interests. And I was about ready to put an ad in the paper, you know, part-time work, lots of benefits, travel. And I actually worked for my sister for about 10 years in industrial sales and became super frustrated and unfulfilled and discontent. And I was looking for something that would let me be able to teach and to be able to administer to people more and to have more of a higher cause. But so I just put all my accounts on a zip drive and gave them to her and kind of gave up on my other dream of being able to serve or do things. And then at one point I had some back aches and pains, and it was, you know, really discouraging and brought on kind of feelings of depression. And it kind of became a vicious cycle, and I could really see no end in sight. And, you know, I was trying different things, and I became really frustrated with that. So I was trying to find some natural solutions. And it was about that time that my daughter-in-law, Kirsten, introduced me to essential oils. And I began to, first of all, take the Lifelong Vitality vitamins because they gave me more energy and less pain. And then I became more familiar with the other oils that helped with depression, helped me with my feelings of depression, and the emotional oils. So this became a really positive experience that empowered me. And I was super happy to be able to find natural solutions and find the relief that I needed. And so I really wanted to take these natural tools and share them with other people. And I continued to, you know, see that they were really worthwhile dividends in using and turning towards something natural. And then I could also see that, you know, there was income to be made, and in particular, the residual income. So,
well, I think this is an important point. Like, you know, for those of you that are watching and are maybe, I'm sure there's a wide spectrum of people that are watching right now. We have people that maybe have never heard of doTERRA, people that, or essential oils, people that have just used the oils. Maybe they've been looking at doing doTERRA as a business. And I think the important point that really drew me as well is that I think it's like 85% of the people that use the oils, or, you know, are wholesale members with doTERRA, just simply use the oils because they want to make natural choices, right? And it's this lifestyle change. They want to be able to empower themselves. And maybe that's how you felt too. If that is, I'd love to know, you know, I know we have, you know, a few people here on our Facebook Live. If you were first introduced to doTERRA, what attracted you was empowering yourself through natural solutions, through the oils. And I'd love to be able to know that. You guys can post a comment, you know, let us know if that was you. But I think that is what is really powerful. And when we talk about, you know, we drop words like network marketing, and we talk about the business of doTERRA, sometimes we have like all these stereotypes that start to come in, right? And I know that earlier in your guys' lives, I remember staying home while you and Dad were participating in another network marketing company, right? Mm-hmm. And out there doing that whole thing. And so what I really love about this is that when network marketing is done right, you know, I always like to say that everyone does network marketing, just most people don't get paid for it. Right? Everyone refers somebody to a movie, refers a babysitter, refers this or that or the other. When you are doing it authentically, you are actually sharing something that has really changed your life. It's when you are doing something inauthentically, when you have that agenda, that's where we kind of get the pushback. And so being a person that already loves to serve people, having found solutions that have empowered you, I don't know, is there any particular experiences that you can think of where after you kind of were able to solve some of your own problems, you were able to reach out and kind of provide that same support to other people?
So definitely. One of the techniques that I was particularly interested in is called aroma touch. And
maybe for those people that don't know what that is, just real quickly describe what it is.
It's 8 essential oils that are done in a particular order on your back with a certain modem, and you actually get trained to share that. And what empowered me about this is that, I might have a mother that I was helping in the neighborhood that was actually losing her baby. And I would go over and, help to soothe her with the essential oils, with this aroma touch, with, whatever would help to uplift her. And it's a whole nother dimension. And I mean, this is like the core of doTERRA, is being able to really help people and see that you're spending time, that it's about relationships, it's about lifting other people, it's about having the tools to be able to do that, and also turn them and empower them to be able to do the same for their loved ones or other people that they know. And I mean, this is the network. It's actually joining hands with each other and empowering everyone to be, like another dimension of helping people. But it has to be sincere. It is sincere, and is something that is amazing. So it's just something that you have to experience.
Yeah, I love it. So being able to, I think that's the next dot that I kind of want to connect it for those of you that are kind of wondering how we're pulling this all together. It really starts with you personally having experiences and that authentically leading you to serving other people that are in need, right? I mean, that really, if that is your desire, that's kind of how this whole thing grows. And, I know for you, you and Dad, a little background on my dad. My dad has been an architect for how long, Mom? Maybe we don't want to say.
I think it's about how old you are. So I don't want to say, but
yeah. So 30. We'll just say more than a couple years. Okay, more than 2 years. Okay, so 30 plus years he's been an architect, and he's done everything from schools to residential homes, commercial, and was actually with the architectural firm that he has been with for I think the last 15 to 17 years, right? And so you guys, here you are, you're getting close to 65, and you have this whole retirement game plan, right? You have this whole idea, we're going to retire, we're going to serve and do all these different things. Dad has had his job for 17 years. You guys are probably the last 2 people who are going to actually be using Social Security. I don't think that game plan is going to be around for any of us that are on here. And so you have that all together, and then kind of explain what happens. What happens to, we don't have to go into like the necessarily nitty-gritty detail, but what happened to kind of that job and what you got, the questions that you guys were forced to answer?
Well, I mean, there's stress in life no matter what you're doing. There's ups and downs, and there's lows and highs, and I think the thing that we really all want to have is security. And I think this is the core. I mean, we're all going to be working too, so we might as well be doing something that gives us a residual. And I think that's something that is super important. And I mean, why put effort into something that, I mean, it might as well be something that you loved. And Gary, loved architecture, loved being able to, contribute and do that. But also, if you add something that smells good and uplifts you and that has integrity and serves the individual, the family, and the world, then why not be involved in something like that? So what happened at that time is, here he is looking for other work after the doors were closed, and he was able to have options. he was able to have the security to know that, yeah, he didn't have to work. You know, some people say, oh, yeah, I don't want to stop working. I want to work forever. But really, there are other options that we have. And the security of doTERRA, you're going to work hard anyway. So you might as well be working something smart that is serving, that is gives you this security to be able to have the choices that you could make. And that absolutely gave him that opportunity.
Yeah, so I think it's I want to kind of draw out a few of the details here, because I don't think that your situation was necessarily unique. And I don't mean that. I think that a lot of people, especially, and it doesn't just happen at the age of 60. I mean, this happens now. I think the average is most people will change jobs. I think it's like an average of 9 times during their working career, right? And I think the society that we now live in, this whole idea of working 40 hours a week for 40 years, you know, going and getting a degree and getting a job that's going to build some retirement, it's gone. I mean, it doesn't even exist anymore. And so there's a lot of people who are caught in between, knowing that it doesn't exist anymore and getting close to retirement, where they're like, well, what else should I do? And so, you know, my dad was, you know, did an amazing job as an architect for 17 years for this firm and was known for doing a lot of things. And here we are a year before he wants to retire, and the firm closes down, right? Right. And in most cases, a lot of people would be freaking out, like a year or two before retirement. What am I going to do? Insurance. I mean, all of the different things that go into that. And what is super meaningful to me is that you had begun creating this pipeline. And we're going to talk a little about, when I say the word pipeline and buckets, we're going to talk about this a little bit. But you had begun creating this plan B. Sometimes your plan B becomes your plan A, right? And you had started creating this plan B, and really in the beginning of that plan B, I mean, let's be honest, Mom, in the beginning of doTERRA, like the first year, it really wasn't much money. I mean, maybe it was a few $100s, maybe there were some months where it was more than that. And I think that what people have to understand is when you look at building residual income, you cannot approach it the same way that you would trading dollars for hours, right? With an employee mindset, we trade dollars for hours. We get paid for hours that we turn in. Even if you're self-employed, it works very similarly, except for you're the one that's doing everything. So you cannot have that mentality. But what I love is as you built this pipeline, it got to a place. And I think this is important. You know, I kind of went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to talk about numbers like money per month and things like that. But I think it's really important to be very real, you know, about what we're talking about, so that it's not this ambiguous freedom and abundance thing, but to do so without any pride, to do so without any, like, you know, puffing chests or anything like that. But what I think is amazing is this. So you've reached this place where you guys are platinum. And on average, platinums will range. It just kind of depends, like, what your platinum looks like. But it will range between sometimes $5,000 to, you know, $10,000 plus a month. And so when you look at that and you look at that coming in monthly, right? Like, that is a residual piece that's been created. And we're going to talk about residual, right? And why that's so important, because it grows while you're sleeping, while you're serving, while you're doing all these things. To be able to have Dad be in a place where instead of freaking out, you guys could come together as a couple and say, hey, you know what? It's okay. I mean, talk to me, Mom, you know, about what it meant for you, or maybe the peace that you had instead of stress of being able to say, hey, you know what? We do have this pipeline. Let's make sure we make a good choice about the next step. I don't know, because we've never even talked about this, but what was that conversation like, and what did it mean to have that income piece to allow you guys to make the best decision?
Well, I think that the word that you said there was stress, and that's sometimes something that we can't control. But when you have options and you feel like you can take a breath and you have the security to be able to sit back and say, okay, you know, let's, if he wasn't, if the business that he worked for didn't end, I mean, he still could have fired his boss. So, you know, the point there is that it's great to have security and choices. And the thing that I want to say is that everyone deserves that opportunity, that equal opportunity to be able to prosper and to be able to serve and to be able to continue learning, which is one thing that I love about doTERRA, is that it's a continual learning on a personal level, on a relationship level. It's, to me, that's life, is to be able to continue learning. And when you have the opportunity to settle the stress and to be able to have choices and to be able to help other people, it's amazing. And also, what's so amazing about this business is our success is not just ours. We are here and want to help other people to be successful because we're all interconnected. And if another person is not successful, then we're not successful. So we are vested in each other. And this is something that is an actual network, but it's all about health. It's about service. It's about humanitarian work. It's a greater cause. And I think that this is something that brings people together. And it certainly brought us to a point where we have choices that we can, make with each other to be able to continue to help other people to reach their goals.
Yeah, I love it. And I want you guys, I know there's a lot of you guys that are on this, and thousands of people are going to watch this, recorded. I want you to think about your life right now. And I want you to think about how important it is to be able to make the choices that you want to make, right? Because that's really what it is. I mean, sometimes we let the money part of it excite us, or, we get real big eyes about it. But really what we're after is the ability to choose, right? And choice never becomes more important than when it's in the moment, right? When maybe you have something tragic happen in your family and you need to take off 2 months of work to be able to be with them. And you have the choice to do that. Or you have a career change. You have the choice to do that, to kind of evaluate those things. So really the power in what we're talking about is the ability to choose, which really is invaluable. And for each one of us, it's really a different amount of money, right? I mean, sometimes I think we put too much focus on large amounts of money when in all reality, maybe $200 a month for somebody allows them to choose to do something in their own, realm. And so anyway, so I wanted to kind of touch on that. I want to switch gears a little bit and have you, from your perspective, what were the things that stood out to you about doTERRA that maybe was different? Because I think that all of us, there's so many people that are kind of waking up to this idea that they're not cool with status quo anymore, right? They're not cool with working a job that they kind of like, but really doesn't fulfill them. They're not cool with having to miss soccer games. They're not cool with having to live this life that's kind of dictated by other people. And they see, because of social media, more and more people that are doing what they want to do, but they want to pick something that they can really trust, right? Trust has become something that's really been difficult, especially with reality shows that are not even reality. But what was it for you that stood out to you about doTERRA that allowed you to have that trust and know that you were making the right investment?
Well, I actually knew a lot of the people that started the doTERRA business. I kind of rubbed shoulders with them in where I live. And I could definitely see there was integrity, that they, impeccable integrity in the business. So that was something that I was really attracted to. And also the higher purpose.
When you say integrity, like for those that are watching, what was it about them that allows you to use the word integrity? Like, why is it that happened for you?
Okay, well, I know the story of doTERRA is that they didn't even take a paycheck for at least the first couple years, and that they really sacrificed to be able to keep the business private, so that, you know, they were able to direct the business in exactly the direction that they wanted to. You know, sometimes I feel like doTERRA is a cover for humanitarian service, but at the same time, you know, if you don't have your health, then you don't have a choice. But if you do have your health, then you have many choices. So they were also really conscientious, extremely particular about the quality of the essential oils and of the products. So, I mean, what's so great about it is that I don't have, as a person that has a network marketing business, I don't have to worry about all those things. I know that they have my back. I know that they're pure and that they're potent, and I mean, doTERRA is amazing in everything that they do. And, you know, I don't feel, I mean, they're going to be around. And I really feel like we've just scratched the surface with the people that really, you know about doTERRA and natural health. And I know that doTERRA is out to, you know, change healthcare, and they also want to be able to help people to be financially free so that they can give back. So it's kind of all wrapped up there together, but it's an answer for me because it's something that helps me to be able to serve people. It helps my health, helps me to be able to have the security. And I mean, it only makes sense to share that and to continue.
Yeah, I love that. I think that one of the things I want to pull out from what you said was, you know, for those of you that are watching this that are like thinking to yourselves, well, maybe I'm in a different company, or maybe I'm kind of looking at what I should do. I always kind of like to use this test, right? When you look at a company and you want to know whether or not they're going to align with what your goals are, the first thing that you have to look at is obviously, or one of the things that you should look at is the problem that they solve, right? I think that there's a lot of businesses out there that solve a small problem, or they like to blow it up and make it look like a really big problem so it's enticing to you. But when you look at doTERRA, you look at the mission of doTERRA, there is not a human being on planet Earth that the oils don't help. So when the problems you can solve, when the solutions you can provide apply to everyone, you can't even really compare that to another company or another business. You know, we've been doing this for 8 years. Do you know how many people I have had come to me, pitch me on some other company? That company is actually not around anymore, and they've gone on to pitch me on another company. And they've come to me and they've said, oh, well, you know, doTERRA's been around for 8 years. You know, it's already passed this, that, or the other. And I'm like, listen, you just don't get it, obviously, do you? The fact is doTERRA is so unique with who it applies to that we are just scratching the surface. We are just scratching the surface of who we are impacting and the mission that we have. And I'm like, a lot of times I'll look at them and I'm like, man, if they would have just listened to me and they would have allowed us to coach them and teach them and gone through what we said, I can't even imagine where they would be today. But guess what? We're still going to be here. We're still going to be waiting, ready to love them and ready to, you know, help them create what it is that they want to create. So the first thing is making sure you solve it. It solves a really big problem. The second thing is, and the second and third are really tied together. The second is the results that it delivers. And I want to kind of break this results thing down into a couple different levels, right? There is the physical result, Mom, like we talked about. We talked about how it's affected you emotionally, how it helps us for a variety of different health reasons. But there's another result that you touched on that a lot of people don't think about. And that is the result before the bottle of oil ever touches or hits our hands. And that is the work that doTERRA does in the developing countries where these oils come from. And, I've had the opportunity to go to Jamaica, Haiti, Bulgaria, Guatemala, and look into the eyes of the families that doTERRA has impacted. And it's, the amazing thing is, and there's stories behind all of these different oils, but one of the things that I love about doTERRA is that when they come to these areas, they don't buy up all the land from these people. What they do is they empower these people, they have them keep the land. They improve their farming practices. They make sure that they're paid fair wages. They help them get paid far beyond fair wages. They remove the middleman. And then what they do is they invest into infrastructure, fresh water, schools, medical facilities, everything that community needs to completely change what's possible. And that is the result, right? There's a result before the bottle, there's the result after the bottle. We get to blend the two, and then we get to use the abundance that gets created by empowering people to then go out and serve. And I'm like, wow, how does it get any better than that? It does not get any better than that. And so when you combine the integrity and the mission and the application of who it applies to, you ask yourself, well, how can I begin? And really, the first place to begin is just with you. And so I guess I kind of want to turn it as we're finishing up, and we talk about what you want to create. So for those of you that are watching this, here we are, and my mom has accomplished this level of success, and she's an amazing person, and you're going to hear from other people, but I think it's really more about what you want to create. I mean, that's why we're doing these, is to inspire you to follow the feeling of what you want to create. So Mom, what would be your advice to people that are hearing this, that, they get it, they love doTERRA, or they understand the integrity part of it, but maybe they're wondering, what's the first step? And maybe they're your age and they're looking at all these social media whippersnappers and they're like, yeah, but that's not me. I'm not doing Facebook Lives. I'm not, I'm a belly to belly people person. What's your recommendation for them to take the first step, and if they can do it?
So you mentioned the word belly to belly, and I think that's really where anything begins, is one-on-one. Just open the bottle, share with other people, find out what other people want, listen and serve, and continue to learn. And that's what keeps me going, is, helping other people to expand their vision and their choices. And that's what essential oils and doTERRA has done for me, is it is given me more choices and more vision. And I want to continue to be able to do that. But just, start with yourself, start with your neighbors, start with people that you love. Ask people, are you interested in natural health? And would it be okay if I shared an essential oil with you?
Yeah.
And it starts really, really simple.
Yeah.
And, yep.
I love it. I love the simplicity of it. So often I get people that come to me and they're like, hey, Kirschbaum, I've seen, you guys doing really well with doTERRA. I want to build a business with doTERRA. And I'm like, okay, great. But just so you know, like the first 60 days, we're just going to learn about essential oils, and you're going to use them, and you're going to find areas of your health that you want to improve until you get to a place where you can really share authentically. Because what happens is, when you start a business and your mindset is 100% the money, everyone knows that the majority of businesses fail. And they typically fail because their focus is 100% like, how much money can I make, or whatever it might be. And it's not focused on the mission. The mission comes from your personal experiences. The mission has the power to push you through the obstacles, the frustration, not enough money, whatever it might be, to get to a place where people actually see what you've created. So without that foundation, it doesn't even make sense. And I feel like that is a requirement to be a part of this community of people that really want to leave their mark. They want to change the world, and they want to do so through this vehicle. So Anyway, super grateful that we could all be on. I know we're about 40 minutes. Mom, anything that you want to kind of leave off with, and any pieces that we missed of your story or messages that you would communicate to people?
I think the greatest reward of this business is hearing back from people like, hey, this bottle is a miracle bottle. It, totally helped my seasonal allergies. Or someone comes back and, just being able to connect with people and have that human connection of they know that you care, you shared something with them and it worked. And then to tie that with, being able to continue to spread that and do that, and to be able to have the security to have choices monetarily to be able to give back. I think that's super important.
Awesome. If you have any questions about what we've talked about, we always typically send out this build guide. This is kind of what we followed today. And if you want to know more about any of those points, about why doTERRA is different, about retention, about anything when it comes to really taking the first step in building your doTERRA business, check out the build guide. We'll post a link to it so you can check it out as well. And if you have jumped on and you're like, I don't even know what essential oils are, there are lots of great basic webinars that you can watch. You can go onto our website and watch webinars about it, or you can go back to the person that maybe referred you to this and say, hey, could you help me understand the basics of oils? I love this idea of combining my passion for serving people with the ability to create a life where I do have choices. Help me understand what the next step is. So if that's you, go back to the person that invited you to watch this. If that's us, or if that's Chris, touch base with us so that we can sit down with you and we can kind of help you understand what the next steps look like. So thank you for being on. We're excited to really know all the people that it reached. And truth be told, before we jumped on this, we actually said a little prayer, and we really wanted to be divinely guided to say and speak the things that would touch the people that are going to watch this, whether they're watching live or not. So hopefully we've been able to accomplish that. And mom, son, high five. We did it. Okay, good job. All right, thank you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.
All right.